Today on Truth Is, the Word became flesh. God became a man. This is John's Christmas story. That's coming up. Hey, welcome to Truth Is. John chapter 1 verse 14 tells us, "And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And we have seen His glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth." While Jesus was here on this earth, He was fully God and fully human. The whole time He was there. That means that little baby in a manger was fully God and fully human. That means the man that went to the cross was fully God and fully human. The whole time He was here, fully God, fully human. Hebrews 2:14 says, "Since therefore the children share in flesh and blood, He Himself likewise partook of the same things, that through death He might destroy the one who has the power of death, that is, the devil." The children share in flesh and blood. He Himself shared the same thing. He understands what it's like to walk in flesh and blood. And Hebrews 2:15 says, "And deliver all those who through fear of death were subject to lifelong slavery. For surely it is not angels that He helps, but He helps the offspring of Abraham. Therefore He had to be made like His brothers in every respect, so that He might become a merciful and faithful high priest in the service of God, to make propitiation for the sins of the people. For because He Himself has suffered when tempted, He is able to help those who are being tempted." It says He suffered when He was tempted. Now, Jesus never sinned. The whole time He was here on this earth, He never sinned. But He suffered, it says. You know, when we're tempted, sometimes we suffer. Even though we may not give in to the temptation, we suffer. He can relate to us. He walked in flesh. He knows what it's like to walk in flesh. Now, we have sinned and will continue to sin. We don't do it on purpose, but it does happen. Sin should grieve any Christian when we walk in sin and do stuff we know is wrong. But we do have a faithful high priest in Jesus who understands what it was like to walk in flesh, and He suffered, as it says. So He understands, even though He never sinned, He understands what walking in flesh is like. Hebrews 4:16 says, "Let us then with confidence draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need." So with confidence, you and I can approach the throne of Jesus because He understands. And that confidence is not in you, it's not in me. Our confidence is in Him, that He understands because He walked in flesh. And this ought to give us a great bit of relief and a great bit of joy that I can approach Jesus with my problems, my struggle with sin and walking in the flesh, because He understands. I can take them before Him and ask for help in those areas, whatever they may be. And the second bit of our verse today, in verse 14, says this, "And we have seen His glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth." On the Mount of Transfiguration, Peter, James, and John saw the glory of Jesus. They saw His glory beyond His humanness. They saw who He was. Like He peeled back His flesh and they saw His glory. And you can read about that in Matthew chapter 17 verses 1 through 8 if you want to go to the Gospel of Matthew and read about them seeing His glory on the Mount of Transfiguration. But they saw a lot of other things of Jesus. They saw His glory in His miracles and things that He did. But this bit of scripture we've covered today is so profound. The Word became flesh. God became a man. It's what our belief in Christianity stands on. God became a man. And it's so profound, and we must rejoice in it. Well, that's all the time we have today on Truth Is. Thanks for joining me today. Blessings.